All right, welcome everyone to this success story. We have the wonderful Celia, who is part of our Lifestyle Marketeer program. She's been having amazing success inside of it, and we wanted to bring her on to share her story and her journey so that others can see what's possible for them and what they can do for their lives. And so, Celia, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Anthony.
Good, good, good. Awesome to have you here. So let's jump right in. Can you tell us a little about yourself? Where you're from? Where do you live right now?
Yeah, so I'm from Australia, from South Australia. I've been living in Japan for the last 8 years, actually. So good old expat life. So I went over there initially as an English teacher in 2013 and stayed at the company I was with and started writing curriculum and that kind of thing. And then in March 2018, I went full-time freelance. And then in 2019, June, I joined this program.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so June you joined in. Okay, great. So you're teaching, or you were working there. So what problems did you face that made you want to, search for something else? Not just start your own business. Eventually, obviously brought you to this program, but just in general, what made you want to make a change?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a long story, but basically, it wasn't really any problem with like English teaching or writing curriculum or anything like that, but just working for a company itself has its limits. Obviously, you're tied to, the 9 to 5. You're limited by your salary. Your salary is just your salary. And, if you're able to negotiate it up, great. But in a lot of the cases you can't, especially in Japan. It's not really a place that allows for that very much. Especially not in a role like, English teaching, it's easily replaceable. Even curriculum writing, like it's easily replaceable, even if you're good at what you do. So yeah, I always freelanced alongside of that job for some extra cash, and also just because it was enjoyable. I did like travel writing and stuff like that, and edited a magazine. So it was enjoyable and yeah, extra cash. So that's why I did it. But then when I went freelancing full time, things got really hard because obviously you have to source all of your own work, and you don't get paid up front like you do with the work that you do with the lifestyle marketer. You get paid like 3 months later when they feel like it, basically. And yeah, there was a lot of difficulties with that, and so that's why I was searching for something else.
Awesome. Yeah. When you experience something like that, you do want to, I totally get it. I totally get why you would want to make a shift. As we've seen with many of people who've come to the program have had a similar experience in their lives. Okay. So what did you do or try? You say you did some freelancing, different things like that. So what exactly did you do or try before joining the program? And what happened with those?
Yeah, so basically I started my own like content writing business. It's like a travel writing business, and also I was editing a magazine. So I guess you could say the magazine was like my biggest client. It was a quarterly travel magazine. And yeah, so that's what I tried. And I tried that for about, I don't know what that math is, but maybe like 2 years before before actually getting into the lifestyle marketeer.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So you did that for a bit, and then
Yeah.
you came across James, or something that he put out at some point, probably an ad, right?
Came across as a good verb to use for that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great, great, great. Okay, so what did you first think about when you heard about Lifestyle Marketing Program or saw his ad or whatever it was?
Yeah, it was really interesting because obviously you see ads like that all the time on Facebook for like coaching or, something that's going to teach you how to blog and bank lots of money and stuff like that. And like, honestly, like 99% of those ads, I'm like, like sounds like BS, really. It sounds like pie in the sky. Or like, you never get enough information. So it's like, is it a pyramid scheme? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, some of those ads you watch like 10 or 20 minutes of content, and at the end of it, you still don't really know what you'd be doing, like what it even is, they just kind of sell that dream. Whereas James, like, it was just really good copywriting in the ad, I think, and just a bit of an X factor with how it was presented and stuff. It just looked a bit more normal, and it looked real, and it looked like someone who'd actually, found something worthwhile doing. And was making it his business to spread the word. So yeah, it was just a weird thing. It was easy to trust for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, this makes sense. And I watched all of his sales pages. I'm like, okay, I know what he does. I know what he does. I know how he helps people. I know what roughly like what I'd be in for with this course. So like I was really confident when I went on the sales call with Ben. And I was, I was already sold really. Like I was hoping I'd be able to afford it because I really wanted to be able to buy it and do it. Like, so yeah, it just did a good job of selling it before getting on the call kind of thing.
Gotcha. Is there anything that stood out that helped you to get over the, maybe a little bit of the skepticism?
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, but I think it was just the fact that I knew what I'd be in for. Like I knew what he was going to teach me. And I didn't have to like get on the sales call to find out all of the information, I could like get a really good idea of what was happening beforehand, which gave me confidence to get on it. And yeah, just the language that he was using, like obviously expat overseas looking for something new. Yes, that's me. And I think, yeah, just the fact that he presented it in a sort of normal atmosphere, like it wasn't too like, he wasn't like on the actual beach, like, he presented it just in his room, in his house, or in his office in his house. It looked normal. It didn't look oversold or overdone. And I think that was the little X factor that probably did it.
That's good. I'm happy to hear that. Okay, great. So what have your results been so far? You've been in the program for a bit.
Yeah.
Can you take us back like to, when you came in, you got into the training. What does like, the journey up to your first client look like?
Totally, yeah. And I think like it's important for people to know that you can do it a lot faster than I did it. It just really depends on your circumstances. So yeah, I joined in June of 2019, and basically I had already lined up 3 months worth of work for myself with my freelance. Well, I say freelancing, but it was at that point a travel content writing business. So I had some big clients like Google and Photos and Lonely Planet and stuff like that. And I'd built relationships with those editors. And I had work lined up about 3 months in advance, including rewriting an entire book of one company's. So I think my plan was to, I wanted something in order that I could stop prospecting for that work. So my plan was to do the training as much as I could while I was doing that work. And so obviously that meant like, no Netflix, no nothing, like, sacrificing, things that I just didn't need to do so that I could fit all of that training in. And I was able to fly through, especially the first 4 weeks pretty quickly. But then like week 5 is when you start setting everything up, you start setting up your platforms and your profiles and that kind of thing. And so that was where I got up to. And then I was, doing all of my work throughout July, August and September. And also my parents came to visit me in Osaka for 3 weeks in September, which was awesome. But 3 weeks of not even, hardly doing work. Because obviously you want to prioritize your family when they, fly thousands and thousands of miles to come and see you.
Yeah.
So it was only at the beginning of October that I was able to actually start with my free product trial, like start with my trial client, and also start prospecting for myself as well. So it was like that first week of October that I got things going. And I was pretty stunned actually, like how quickly it all started to happen when I got to that point where I'd kind of cleared my schedule, cleared things out of the way where I could actually prioritize this. And so, yeah, I started with my FPT client in first week of October. And I think on day 4 of his campaign, we landed him a prospect that turned into a client worth $20,000 a year. So I was like, okay,
Incredible.
this works. Like, this is good. And so that gave me a lot of confidence to then start prospecting for myself to do the straight selling. And so in that month, I just got one client. I wasn't like doing like the full daily workflow that James tells you to do, because I was, trying to get good results for my FPT client and things like that. But I managed to land another finance broker in that month. So that was for $2,000 per month with that guy. So that was like a big win for me, alongside of the good results with the free product trial.
Great, great, great. Okay, so you had the FPT, you turned that into a paying client, and then you brought on another client?
Yes, no. So what happened was I started the FPT and was getting really good results, and I was like, wow. So it gave me the confidence to straight sell, and then I straight sold to this other broker for 2,000 a month. And the great thing about doing the free product trial, and especially if you can land them clients worth $20,000 a year, is obviously you've got confidence in what you can charge. Because it's like, well, you're making like a lot more money here. So I was able to sell, like, re-sign my FPT client for $4,000 a month.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you did something what most people, well, you did what most people don't do. Like you were in the process of getting results for a client for free with your final product test. In the meantime, it gave you the confidence to bring on someone else
Yeah.
as a paid client as you continue to get results for your final product test, and then you continued and then you brought them on further. So,
Yeah.
okay, so let's bring it up today. So, like, how many clients do you have, and what kind of revenue are you doing now?
Yeah. So it was a little bit tricky because it's a bit of a tricky time of year. So my niche is finance, and the Australian finance sector goes to sleep kind of in December and doesn't wake up until like Australia Day, which is January 26th. I learned this from all of my clients and through all my strategy sessions. But basically, so yeah, I had the $2,000 from the initial client, and then the $4,000 from the FPT, and then the initial
And that was
client,
month one, right?
that was month one, yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, yeah. So
Yeah.
the end of month one, I had
Okay.
6 grand. You could say that, yeah.
Okay.
And then in the November,